Hey everybody, welcome to the Late Horror Show! What is going on? Whoa, another live show. Maybe you guys will start figuring out we're doing this live on Tuesdays now at 9 p.m.
Live like a suicide.
Well, 9:15, you know, something close to it. But hey...
Whenever I get over here.
Yeah, whenever Ted gets over here. But hey, thanks for everybody showing up. I see that there's people already in the chat. Eric Griffith, Jenny Delaney, Raiders AK, Nick. Pretty funny, Nick. Yeah.
Got your lotion.
But yeah, we're here with the top 10 fantasy movies of all time. In my opinion, Ted's opinion,
I don't have opinions. I have facts.
You have facts, right?
I just have facts.
You know, everybody's list may differ, of course.
I never qualify anything within my
Jenny
opinion.
says, "Hey, Ted."
Hey.
She was asking, "Is Ted going to be here tonight?"
I will.
So he is here.
I am co-host of
this show. He is here like a bear floating on a river of despair.
Even after a 12-hour day with all my crazy people, I am still here.
Yeah. Get the basics out real quick. If you're on iTunes, as usual, the people on YouTube here.
Yeah.
Well, let me go to iTunes first.
Yeah.
We're always live on YouTube. Well, we're starting to go live again. But you can always find the live video feed on YouTube, The Late Horror Show. And I've never done a call out to the people on iTunes before. First of all, over the 4 years, I want to thank everybody who's listened to our podcast, because this show that we do on Tuesday, me and Ted, the long formatted style that we do, is pretty much a podcast and focused on iTunes, really. This long formatted casual talk back and forth. I just thank everybody on iTunes who's always there every week. I appreciate it. I think I mentioned last week the people overseas on military bases, stuff like that, who reach out to me and let me know, how much they like
countries. It's kind of cool.
But giving us a rating, stop what you're doing if you're listening to this right now. I'd like to just ask you to give us a rating on iTunes, like the 4 stars, whatever. Write a little review, something like that, because it helps us out. I don't think over the 4 years I may have asked one time for that, and it helps us out. So if you can do that, do that. Again, anybody watching us, you guys, you can always go to iTunes and listen to us at night when you're going to sleep. How about that? You want to hear our crappy-ass voices at night?
Oh, I have a good voice.
Yeah,
it's like hot buttered soul.
I'm not sure about that, but John Kyle Stanton, thank you very much for the super chat.
Oh, thank you.
All hail Dino and Ted. I appreciate it, my friend.
Groovy.
Yeah, I'm loving all the group of people coming back here. Some newer, some different than what we had in the past. We took a big break on the live format for a while. Not sure why we did, but we did. But we're back at it, live every Tuesday.
Might as well.
And what do we got here? We got frickin' fantasy films.
Yes, probably my favorite genre of film.
Last week we did sci-fi.
Yes.
And people could say fantasy, sci-fi, kind of same thing, but no,
not with my list.
Kind of a subgenre of science fiction, kind of. So no, it's a category.
It's a different type of film, and a lot of movies that you wouldn't think could fall under that category. You know? You look, you'll see like Ghostbusters or something under that category. When I might think it's a comedy, but
right.
It depends on the type of elements that are in it. So
no. And we're gonna go through each list from 10 to 1. I'm looking in the future of getting people to join us on these top 10 lists with us, and depending on. The topics we're going to do, but I think that.
Or they could do their own, and we could moderate it or something, and have a couple people do their top 10 lists, and we comment.
We got to throw ours in.
Oh, we're doing all these top 10 lists. Ain't gonna be no damn movies left.
Oh, there's plenty to do. There's always plenty to do. But hey, thanks everybody who showed up.
Next week's gonna be real exciting because our top 10 pornography films.
Yeah. Just kidding. Top 10 porn stars from the 80s. How you like that one? No, anyways, here we go.
Sad thing is, he actually has a list.
Ginger Lynn's on it. Oh, anyways, and so is Amber Lynn. Oh, anyways, oh God, I'm dating myself here. Anyways, so I'm gonna start out with my number 10.
Your number 10.
You'll go to 10, and we'll work our way up to number 1. So, my first movie that I am going to pick is The Princess Bride.
That's a good
From
movie.
1980. Oh, shit. Okay, no. We're fine. From 1987, The Princess Bride.
Yes.
This is Carrie Ellis, Mandy Patinkin, Chris Sarandon, Fred Savage, Andre the Giant is in this.
Peter Falk,
Billy
Columbo.
Crystal, Peter Falk, Columbo. This was just a movie that is kind of like.
That's a fun movie. It's not on my list. It's a fun movie.
It's a fun movie. Hey, Coffin Crew. It's a movie that I tend to pop in on holidays. I'm not sure why. It's one of those movies.
It's
I think
comfort movie, man. Yeah,
comfort movie. One of those movies.
It's the kind of movie like if you have a daughter and she's sick home from school and there's nothing to do, man. You put that on for her and go, here. This is your
exactly.
That's what I always envisioned that movie being.
No. One of those movies that it's a comfort film. It's a movie I've seen periodically growing up. It would always be, I think, typically on the holidays. On our local channels. For some reason, that's when I would watch them.
Great characters.
So many characters, so many great characters.
Fun story.
Fun.
It's even got a nice Criterion Collection edition that just came out like a year ago. It's in a really pretty, like, purple book, sort of.
Got a Criterion edition.
It's got a Criterion.
Yeah,
that's how important
that
film is. That's a good movie.
I really got to watch Princess Bride, says Eric Griffin.
Never watched Princess Bride? I mean,
yeah, you got to see
it's a fun movie.
It's a fun.
It's not a chick flick, even though it's called Princess Bride. It's just that's for everybody.
Right? Yeah.
Princess Bride's a special
without
movie.
a doubt.
That belongs on my list. What can I cut out?
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm like, there's some things that something went wrong. What the hell? Anyways, okay, we're fine. Anyways, what's your number 10, Ted?
All right, I had to juggle these around a little bit. It's hard to rate these because I love them all.
You're not supposed to rape these, Ted.
Well, you know what I mean.
Rank
them.
Oh, there you go.
Rank them is what I meant to say. My top two are definitely my top two. Everything else just depends on how I feel. So
again, we talked about this last week.
I could get into something, and all of a sudden that movie moves up a little bit.
We're not picking the top 10 like
of all time. These are just like my.
This is for us.
What I like.
Yeah. So go ahead.
So I picked Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings trilogy.
That's way down at number 10.
Well, now doesn't it just pique your interest of Jesus Christ? What the hell does he like more than that?
No, hey, it's got me. Yeah, it's got my interest. Climbing there.
You know what I like. You could probably guess.
I know. But I am surprised that those are. Maybe not. Go ahead, talk about it. Yeah.
Well, okay. I mean, it's and also if you need to go to the bathroom or something, because this is the most modern movie I have on my list. Everything else is older than this.
Yeah.
So,
oh my Lord.
I don't know. I remember when we went to go see Fellowship of the Ring midnight showing.
Right.
Remember, I got out of work early that night so we could go, and that packed house, and I was just mesmerized by the whole movie. Yeah, I still think Fellowship of the Ring is the best one out of all of them. It's so close. When I would watch it, I would think, my God, that's what I see when I read a lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of it's what I see when I'm reading the book. And I've read the book many times. I think I read the book first time when I was about 11 years old.
Same here, and I'll talk about it later on when I get to mine.
Yeah,
because it's in my list. It's just, and mine has to do reference a lot towards the novels and stuff like that. But yeah, go ahead.
I guess what I can say is the reason why I love it, the reason why I think it still holds up, is because of all the practical effects used. Real makeup,
right? That always helps.
In real locations, model work, using miniatures to that blend in with CGI to make something look bigger. Not using star name actors, but using actors, people who are right for the parts. Because there was always talk of Sean Connery. Everyone thought Sean Connery was the only person that could play Gandalf. Well, bull effing shit. No. He'd have been horrible. And
I think they picked the right guy for
and Gandalf. Christopher Lee. I mean, it's so fantastic. Saruman. The cast. I don't really have a problem with any cast member in there, and just the digital work that they did on the Gollum character.
Yeah.
And we've seen CGI characters before. We've seen, motion capture before.
Right.
And there are still scenes in these films where I swear to God, that's a puppet. Like, it looks so real.
No, they did an excellent job on there, man.
Just the time and effort put into those three films. I'm not as big of a fan of the Hobbit films, which I know you're going to talk a little bit about. And it's because of the over-reliance on CGI and green screen, which is really noticeable to me. Some of the CGI can get dated after a while, but it blends so well with what they used that was real, the real locations and everything. And I'm so happy that it, once Return of the King came out, it won the, Best Picture, and it kind of, got the ball rolling for fantasy films to be considered. So...
Well, to be considered, have we had
as treasured films?
Right. But other than that, I mean, what stands out?
I mean, other genre films had been nominated for awards, but never
of recent
won.
years, you know what I mean?
I mean, of course, Star Wars was nominated.
Well,
Sigourney Weaver was nominated for actress for Aliens. People kind of forget that.
We're talking sci-fi.
Well, it all kind of gets lumped,
No,
I said genre films.
Right. I got you.
But and then then you have Guillermo del Toro winning, even though
Shape of
Water won Best Picture, and so I mean it paved the way for films like that to even be considered. Mad Max Fury Road was nominated for a Best Picture, so there was a time when you'd never see anything like that. So I think Lord of the Rings kind of knocked down the barrier there a little bit.
Now we've got horror films being kind of up there, but
And I think another reason why Lord of the Rings did so well is because the first one came out a few months after September 11th happened, and I think just the world needed something to, a new place to go to, and I think a lot of people gravitated to that movie, maybe just because of all the terrible things that had happened. Here's this, wonderful place you can go to.
Right, yeah.
My opinion.
No, okay, yeah. There you go. Again, I'm surprised it's that far down in your list, but
everything else is just so much better.
I told you, no, I totally understand. I mean, there's a lot of things on here that I'm like going, at some days, this is, up there in my top 5 or so.
And maybe also because I've watched it so many times.
Yeah.
I'm kind of Lord of the Rings burned out on it. I mean, I can read the book anytime, but I haven't visited those films for a long time, and I only watch the extended versions now. Mm-hmm. Even though Return of the King is literally like 4.5 hours long or whatever it is, it's a long damn movie.
4.5 hours.
He added an hour back into an already long movie.
The extended,
but it's just more of what was in the book.
You needed to do it at that length, though, for the story and the books. I mean,
kudos to New Line Cinema for saying, because at first it was going to be 2 movies, and when they looked at it, you're like, well, that's 3 books. It should be 3 movies.
Yeah.
And damn, all that got to be able to put back in, So, I mean, there was a time, it seems like nowadays that wouldn't happen, or, they want to stretch it out as far as they can. It was just a small studio that you said, yeah, let's go, let's do it the right way.
Again, it needs. There was so much content in the books, which I'll get to. I'll get to a little bit later.
And I'll even give a little shout out to the animated one from 1978.
Yeah,
which
fun.
I really love.
Fun, yeah.
I wish someone could throw some money at that Ralph Bakshi guy. I think he's still alive.
Yeah.
And let him make the second half. Because that was pretty damn cool, too. I rented the hell out of that tape when I was a kid. So I love that one, too.
I agree. My number 9. Highlander. 1986.
There can be only one.
Speaking of Sean Connery.
Yes.
Yeah. There can be only one.
I love Highlander. I love the whole idea of Highlander.
Yes, me too, man. I mean,
you guys seen Highlander? I mean, it's
I would think most of these people in this community have seen Highlander.
Race of immortals that battle each other secretly
yeah.
throughout time until there's only one left, and that one receives all the knowledge and power of all the immortals that had gone before. Yeah. And the first film's great, and the way that it ends, it's kind of a self-contained story, but then they made all these sequels that just turned the whole thing into a clusterfuck.
Yeah,
it's your movie.
I know, I was going, okay, I'll just let you go. Everything Ted said.
Yeah. Oh, come on.
But they kind of, I mean, the movies after kind of, it was kind of a clusterfuck of issues in some of the movies and stuff like that.
And the TV series
but the original Highlander, Highlander. I said Timelander. Oh. Highlander and Sean Connery. I mean, they were just so great. I mean,
even though Sean Connery was playing an Egyptian, and Christopher Lambert's French, and he was playing a Scottish.
Hey. Some of the
Sean Connery's Scottish.
Yeah. Again, there were some issues, but
that's
why it's number 9, not 1 or 2. But again, love the story, love the premise, and just one of those films that I just enjoy watching.
It's a great idea. I thought they were supposed to sort of reboot this.
I thought so too.
There was some talk of it.
There's always talk on all these movies.
If you could do it
and
do it right, you know, and make a big epic series or a trilogy or something like that, I think it's ripe for that. It's such a cool idea. It's just that the way
awesome Queen song, "Princess of the Universe."
Oh, yeah, here we are. I got it on my phone. Born to be kings. Oh, see you look.
Yep.
And I used to watch a TV show every week. I loved Adrian Paul. He was you know, like the guy I would go gay for, probably.
Oh, jeez, really?
No, I love
Adrian Paul, okay.
No, I mean, he was just really cool in that role.
No,
but it didn't make a lick of sense when you compared it to the original Highlander movie.
Thing is, I don't think there was anything else he was really in, though. I mean, he couldn't really...
He was in the Dark Shadows remake from the early 90s.
I rest my case, sir.
That was a good series. And unfortunately, the stupid damn Persian Gulf War screwed up all the times that it was on.
God
that's why
damn George Bush for sending those jets. Anyways, okay. So that's
seriously, that's what messed up the show. I think it would have been very successful otherwise.
Damn Persian Gulf War. So you're number 9. Go ahead, Ted.
Number 9, we're going to go to the greatest year in cinema history.
1982?
1982.
Ooh. Do I know what this is?
Take a guess.
Is it Conan the Barbarian?
That was not 1982.
No?
No.
Okay.
That was 1981.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Dark Crystal. Jim Henson, Frank Oz.
Conan the Barbarian's 1982.
Let me check your facts.
But no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. All right.
What did you say, though? What was your pick?
I got to know.
Okay, but what was your pick?
The Dark Crystal.
The Dark... Okay. The Dark Crystal...
You are correct, sir. It was 1982.
Yeah, and the Dark Crystal is also 1982.
Yes, but
as
Dark Crystal's number 9 for me.
Yeah.
My mistake. I was wrong, guys.
Yeah, it's all
Once
right.
in a row.
Yeah. Once in a row.
Once in a row.
Thank you, 7 who are here right now watching us.
Is that how many we got? 7?
Yeah.
We got 7 live ones on
I think this is why we stopped doing live videos.
Yeah, you bastards.
Because nobody showed the frick up. But, hey.
Was there some other popular show going on?
You got... Who knows? I don't know. But, hey, again, I want to do these live because even the few of you who are here really appreciate you guys supporting us.
We love
being here.
all.
So, yeah, of course. But go ahead.
The Dark Crystal. I know you love Dark Crystal. We did a whole commentary.
Well, you know it's on my list.
Is it?
Yeah, of course it is.
It's higher up the list.
How can... Yeah, go on.
What a movie. My dad didn't take me to many movies.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of the few movies...
Again, a little scary, but yeah, go ahead.
This was one of the few movies... I remember him taking me to... Seriously, I think I can only remember he and I going to 3 movies as a kid. He took me to a documentary about Jim Morrison and the Doors. He took me to Dark Crystal, and he took me to Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Okay.
So, this was one of those movies... Oh, and Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Forgive me. There's another one. And that's because my mom was having a Tupperware party. Remember those in the 80s, the Tupperware
Holy
party?
Moly. Yeah.
But what a movie. I mean, because a whole universe is created. Whole world alien to our own. Populated with all kinds of creatures that you've never seen before. I mean, this was just Jim Henson
puppets
running wild.
And what we love, know, with no CGI.
Nothing.
Just everything.
The Gelflings, the Skeksis, Aughra, the Mystics, such detail in the characters, such, so distinguished, different, races.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a new series on Netflix, which I hear is mostly practical puppetry, maybe CGI for backgrounds, which I'm totally down with.
No, if they do it the same way, man, that's great.
I'm always down for a little more Lord of the Rings. I even have a nice book, Brian Froud, The Art of the Dark Crystal, at home with all his original sketches and drawings.
John Calstain goes, a Tupperware party?
Back in 82, dude, yeah.
He's going back that long.
This was
he
82.
remembers as being a kid. So,
I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. There's just nothing about that movie that I don't like. It's a great story.
We're called the Magnificent Seven.
Oh, the Magnificent Seven. Yes.
There you go, man. Awesome. Again, yeah. I mean, this is why I wanted to start doing live because I'd love to see what you guys have to say and interact and stuff like that. And who said Excalibur?
Another great one. Not on my list, damn it.
Tiger Man says Excalibur, but yeah, another one that could have made it.
Still the best.
Stop throwing toys up there. Anyway,
still the best King Arthur movie ever made. Excalibur has not been beat.
That brings back memories of my mom and sisters. Says John Cowstan. Yeah, Tupperware parties. Yeah.
I remember.
Okay, yeah, and I'll talk about it a little bit more when I get to where it ranks on my spot.
Yeah,
but,
I love the Dark Crystal. So I'll leave some room for you to talk about it as well.
Legend with Tom Cruise was good, says Jenny Delaney.
That movie is worth it just for Tim Curry.
Felix says, yeah.
Tim, I lose a little bit of interest when Tim Curry's not in it.
Yeah.
But he's so bitching in that movie.
Felix says that the Dark Crystal scared him as a little kid.
It is a scary film.
I'll talk about that a little bit when I get to it. But there were a lot of things.
But one thing is, Jim Henson and Walt Disney especially shared this belief that it's not good to tell children's stories all the time that don't have any danger in it.
Oh, right.
Because you're not preparing them for the world.
Mm-hmm.
So they did firmly believe in telling stories that had a little bit of danger and some fear in there. To show
Stranger
you how
danger.
the heroes get through it and how they deal with it. And that, in turn, those coping mechanisms, you learn those coping mechanisms and strategies.
Yep. Definitely need to. So my number 8 pick, okay, is Time Bandits, 1981.
Fun movie.
Terry Gilliam.
Not on my list. Damn. Our lists are very different.
Yeah, I know. I'm very surprised, but yeah, fun. The journey that they take us on in that movie. Terry Gilliam has a way of making films that just, again, fantasy. I mean, puts you in.
He's got some great ones. He's got some
the
duds,
story.
but that's...
Yeah, right. I don't know what the hell's going on up there.
There's a
right
fight
now.
upstairs.
Just, probably my son.
But especially those early '80s ones he did. Brazil, Time Bandits, The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. Those are the 3 best ones right there.
There you go. Those are the top 3.
Those are excellent films if you haven't seen them.
And out of the 3, Time Bandits is the one I've seen the most and kind of has more of an impact on me just because of how many times I've seen it and when I've seen it.
And how many movies do you know of where the stars of the show are all little people?
Yeah.
I don't think there's been another movie where there's that many. It was like all the working British little people that were around.
Yeah. Peter Dinklage is in there. Oh, no, he's not in there.
No. Kenny Baker is, though, who played R2-D2 in Star Wars.
Yeah, he's in there.
A million faces you'll recognize from other films.
Yeah.
And just, Sean Connery's in that movie, too, damn it. He plays Agamemnon. But it's so much fun. I love his parents. I mean, it's just about these parents that don't pay any attention to their child at all. And he sort of retreats into fantasy. And you see little clues in his room, because this is all kind of like a fantasy. This is not something that really happens to him, in my opinion.
Yeah, no,
because you see all the clues in his room, all the places they go and things they see. He has little toys of them and things like that. And at the end, I mean, the parents get like blown up in a house explosion. And he's all by himself, and it's like he doesn't even really care that much.
No, because he's still in his kind of fantasy mindset.
It's kind of sad in a way. It's just that
again,
that he retreats into that fantasy world.
I tend to go to that, childish fantasy, moving away from the real world and stuff. That's kind of how
is so fun. It's got a great Criterion collection Blu-ray,
and jumping from time to time, period. It's just
so much fun. And I love the idea of these little guys that built the universe, and they know where all the little holes and the flaws are in the fabric of space and time, and so they have the map that shows them all. And they're for no other noble purpose than just to steal crap and get rich. Right. Like when they go to the time like the Napoleonic Wars. I love what's his name? Who plays Napoleon.
That was a great scene, yeah.
And they show Napoleon, and all he likes to watch is entertainment of little people hitting each other. Like, let me see the puppets hitting each other.
Yep.
The puppeteer can't go on anymore. He's been performing all that time.
That's so funny, but so true.
I love it. And they just, all they want to do is just rip it. And then when they meet Robin Hood, remember when they meet Robin Hood and it's John Cleese?
Mm-hmm.
And
who is, Terry Gilliam was part of Monty Python.
Yep. He was the only American in Monty Python.
Right. Which is
he's an expatriate. I think he's given up his U.S. citizenship. He's a British citizen now. Yeah. But he was the only American in Monty Python.
Right.
And he did all the animations, like in Monty Python's Flying Circus, the little weird animations. Mm-hmm. He did that. That's how he got in with those guys.
You know what would have been cool? Seeing Terry Gilliam's take on the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy back then. Like if we would have gotten a different incarnation back in the day.
It's the only way they could have done it was with those little guys.
You know what I'm saying?
All those hobbits.
You know what I'm saying? You think it would have came to his mind, hey, you know what? I could maybe do this movie, but... Eric Griffin says, yes, Dino, Time Bandits is awesome. Tiger Man says The Wizard of Oz, which, yeah, I mean...
You know what I like better in The Wizard of Oz?
Willow is another good one, says Jenny.
I like Return to Oz. It's not on my top 10 list,
right?
But I have it at home. I love Return to Oz. That movie got panned so bad when it came out.
That's with Michael Jackson, right?
No.
What's Return?
That's The Wiz.
That's The Wiz.
The Wiz.
I'm The Wiz.
And
because I don't think I've seen Return to Oz.
You never saw Return to Oz?
No.
It had what's her name? Fairuza Balk when she was a little girl, with Jack Pumpkinhead. You know, the little girl that was in like The Craft and
oh no
and
okay gotcha,
The Craft and American History X and
gotcha
all that. Yeah, it does have Scarecrow and Tin Man in it, but it's got all different characters. TikTok and it's a fantastic movie if you've never seen it.
Well, maybe I got to give that a shot. There's some movies, older movies that just pass me by and I just don't watch it. John Kyle Stanton says I loved Willow. They've been talking about a sequel forever. That would be interesting.
No Warwick Davis, no sale.
Yeah.
Gotta have Warwick Davis.
Scalder22 says, got Time Bandits in my unwatched blue pile. Seen it a long time ago.
Pop it in.
Yeah, there you go, man.
That is always a fun movie.
Heck yeah.
So where are we at?
So yeah, we are at your number,
my number 8. Okay. Again, 1982. I goofed last time.
Okay.
Now we have Conan the Barbarian.
Okay.
1982.
Conan.
There are times when this would move up higher.
Okay.
But, god damn, do I love this movie.
I know. That's why I'm surprised it's at 8. I can't wait. You know what? I'm a little perplexed on what's higher up on your list.
I got different tastes, now. But oh man, what a great movie.
We're kind of reversed, but anyways.
Conan the Barbarian is most
badass.
I mean, just what a perfect movie for Arnold Schwarzenegger to become a star. Playing it.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Wheel of Pain when he's pushing that wheel.
And
then you know that they used real weapons in that movie.
Yeah.
Because they had heft to it. So, I mean, that sword probably
super
weighed,
heavy.
A lot.
Sword,
He's sitting there. I mean, they had different ones for different scenes.
Yeah.
But they did use real weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And that's still a movie that we got a crappy sequel to, a crappy remake to, a crappy TV show, and a crappy cartoon. It was all of it was crap after the first one. I mean, I read a script online about, King Conan, I think it was called at the time, when there was some serious talk about Schwarzenegger coming back to it.
Right.
Maybe this was before Governor, or maybe something like that.
Oh yeah.
But it was a badass story, and it had his son in it as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just the end of the movie where he's sitting on that throne. It's like, I got to know how he got there.
Did you ever see the newer Conan the Barbarian with what's his name?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Okay.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Because I haven't seen it. I didn't want to touch it and watch it.
I mean, I'll always watch Conan. I mean, I watched Kull the Conqueror with Kevin Sorbo. Saw it in the theaters twice, by the way.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. But because he it was not like the books at all. But this first Conan film was, as close to the books as I guess a film could probably get. And, it was its own thing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the music, it's still my favorite. The Anvil of Crom is still my most favorite piece of classical music ever.
Yeah.
When it just,
I agree, and I'll talk about it a little bit more when I get to it. But
okay.
I mean, it's just a fantastic film.
he doesn't have to say a word in that movie.
I think I brought out the swords and as a younger kid, and it made me want to do all those things. It does.
It makes me want to lift up heavy objects and put them back down, and
that's exactly what it was.
Drink mead out of a horn of some animal.
Beat people up,
whatever. I mean, and it's a cool story.
Eric says, might be his favorite Arnold movie.
Without a doubt, it's mine.
John Stanton says Red Sonja the Barbarian. Yes, I remember that was Red Sonja was with
Red Sonja with Bridget Nielsen.
That's right.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was in it as well.
That's right. It's an okay movie.
It's just it could have been more. I mean, because that's tied into the same universe. It would have been nice if they had thought ahead a little bit more and tried to tie it all in properly.
Still an enjoyable flick, though, man.
I haven't seen it in a dog's age, to tell you the truth, but Conan the Barbarian has always been in my collection, no matter what. It's a film that and there's a couple different versions floating around now. There was the original theatrical one, then there was this longer extended version, which honestly, until you get to almost you remember the big fight at the end. No, Conan the Barbarian.
Okay.
I remember watching it the first time, going, "Where's all the new shit?" And you have to get literally to almost the very end of the movie before there's anything new.
Really?
And now
that's bullshit.
And now there's sort of the international version that's available on Blu-ray here. Yeah. It just has a few extra minutes, if it even amounts to that. It doesn't amount to a hill of beans.
It's just to please the fans. But let's put this extra shit in there.
I don't always believe more is better, and Conan's pretty tight the way it is, and
it's pretty tight.
Yes, but just a fantastic movie, man. If there's one god I would worship, it would be Crom.
I'll talk about it when I get to it. Okay, so my number 7. Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Which one?
1959.
It's not on my list, but it would have been there because I love it.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, it's a nostalgic film for me, a comfort film. It's one of the movies I've watched all growing up, and I love stuff about It's
hard to believe I don't have that on my list because I love that movie, but
yeah. I mean, I love dinosaurs. I love the fact that you can the whole journey. I just love everything about
James
it.
Mason.
James Mason.
We always talk about James. I wonder if anybody out here knows who James Mason.
Who's James Mason? What?
Oh, he's a fantastic actor.
He was
in that movie even had Pat Boone in it.
Pat Boone. That's right. Boone. Yes. Oh my god.
And it had what was his name? Thatcher something. The guy that's trying to beat him there.
Yeah.
He played on Dark Shadows.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. Love the drilling machines that they were using to get through.
I mean, it's just it's a great Jules Verne story of a professor finding his way to through one of the entryways into the center of the Earth, where they find strange creatures and jewels and all manner of things.
Right. Yeah.
Basically, like a whole living ecosystem within their.
Yep.
I think the only thing that maybe brings it down a little is because, when it's dinosaurs, it's actually just in the movie, it's just lizards.
Right.
That are made to look really big.
But see, back in the day, and this is why
the only thing it could have done was stop motion.
There's things like that I enjoyed that because me as a kid watching it, I knew there were dinosaurs. I understood dinosaurs, but to see the big lizards on the screen,
but I can look past
it was
that.
part of the right. That's what I'm saying. It was part of the movie and the enjoyment of it because even I knew back then as a kid that somehow they just magnified a big lizard bigger and made this film.
I've said it 100 times. I can overlook bad special effects. I can overlook even some bad acting. If you got a really good, tight story, that's why everybody loved Dark Shadows when it was on. Yes, I mean, they flubbed lines every episode practically.
Right.
They would bump into scenery. Things would fall. Bats on strings. But damn, the stories were so good.
Ben Grimsell says Brendan Fraser version. No!
Although it's not horrible.
Oh!
It's what I like Brendan Fraser. I think he's
that's what. Yeah,
he's likable.
I'm not a fan of Brendan Fraser,
and it's not It's a fun little
You
thing
got a
to
man
watch with
crush?
the kids. No, it's just a fun little movie to watch with the kids.
You can admit it.
No,
People understand.
I like him. He was in Looney Tunes Back in Action and The Mummy and
I know. What?
the Mummy.
The Mummy.
Yeah.
Jesus
the first
Christ.
of the new Mummies movies was not bad.
Ugh. What's going on, Ben Grimm? Anyways, yeah, okay. Yeah. So your number... Oh, don't look at my list. Your number 7.
1980, Somewhere in Time.
What
a movie.
This could be on my list. Should have been on my list. But yeah, go ahead. I love this film too.
Christopher Reeve. And the reason I didn't put this in my list last week is because the time travel aspect doesn't involve any kind of technology.
Right.
If you guys haven't seen this movie, you gotta see this movie.
It's a deep... It's a love story.
Man, it's love from a man's perspective.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And Christopher Reeve, he's a playwright. They're putting on a play.
Yeah.
And it's a big success. And at the end, this old woman just comes back, puts I think a watch in his hand, and says,
like the stopwatch, not stopwatch,
the old pocket watch,
grandfather,
and just says, come back to me. Mm-hmm. And he didn't know who she was, and he starts thinking about it maybe sometime later, and maybe even some years later, and starts doing a little bit of research to find out who she was. Turns out she was a famous actress back in the early 1900s,
played by Jane Seymour.
Jane Seymour, who was
vision, very, very beautiful lady.
Vision. She's in some other films that I don't know if they're on my list, but other films fantasy films that I like. Hell, she was a Bond girl, for God's sake. Live and Let Die. And
beautiful.
Basically, he finds out where she performed at this beautiful hotel, which is in Michigan, I believe, where they still have like a gathering every year for fans of this movie.
Yep. It's a big deal.
I think I know people who have been to that hotel. It's lovely. It looks like it's such a cool place to go and stay. And remember, he's looking through the registers from back in like 1901, 1904, whenever it was, and he sees his name.
Yeah.
And there's a little gallery, and her picture's hanging there. And he starts falling in love with a picture. Mm-hmm. And, when he sees his name in there, he's like, I was there.
Yeah.
And so he tries to figure out how he can go back there. And a college professor that he had explains to him that, through like self-hypnosis, you can will yourself there. But you have to like surround yourself in everything from the period, the clothes, everything. So that's what he does. Mm-hmm. And he actually wills himself into, I think it's 1901, 1902, whatever.
The power of love.
Power of the mind.
And,
and
the whole time.
Then the time that they spend together, and I won't spoil the end if you haven't seen it, but it's gut-wrenching. And
I'm not sure how many people have seen this, but it's definitely... It may sound like a love story, but it's more than that.
It's a quiet little movie.
Very good.
And this is what he did coming off Superman.
Right.
Instead of doing like the next big blockbuster, he did this movie. Mm-hmm. And I remember watching this on cable. It's one of my mom's favorite movies. She's got the record soundtrack, the old LP. Yeah. I have it on my iPod. I got the music is beautiful.
Yeah.
And what I really like is when he does go back in time, just the picture has a very hazy quality,
right?
Like a dream would have. Mm-hmm. It seems a little hazy around the edges.
Yeah.
And I can't recommend.
Has a look and feel to it.
It's based on a book called what's the book called? I can't remember. But it's not called Somewhere in Time. It's written by Richard Matheson, who's written lots of great horror movie scripts, like with Vincent Price, and Less Time something. I can't remember.
I'm not sure. I don't
but
remember.
Anyway, I have read the book. It is very different in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But, watch this film.
Adapted very well to screen, yeah.
Yes.
And my little connection with that is there used to be an overnight talk show host who talked about the paranormal.
Art Bell, right?
Art Bell. Coast to Coast AM, and he would talk about UFOs, aliens, time travel. Mm-hmm. He would open up time traveler hotlines for people to call in.
If you were a time traveler, yeah.
Very intriguing show.
And that was one of his favorites, right?
He just, this was his favorite movie because of the whole time travel thing, and he also loved Jane Seymour, and which helped. But
if you can find any of his shows where he talks to,
good.
What was the guy? Madman Markham?
Madman Markham, yeah.
Even, especially like the most recent one where he talked to him on Midnight in the Desert.
Right.
Where he
the dude was building a time machine, and Art Bell, the talk show host who was interviewing him, who called in, the dude was actually arrested, I do believe so, from sucking so much power off of the city that was going into his like garage area up by so there's and then one day he disappeared. And he was never heard from for a decade. Nobody's heard from him.
And then he came on the show and told the story.
Yeah,
it's
interesting. That's for sure.
I'm very like, I believe it's possible.
Yeah,
because people like Einstein and Tesla, they all thought it could be, and using vibrations, and that's what he was doing.
Well, I mean, even if you talk to theoretical physicists right now, there's I forgot the theory that they have.
There's
the worm theory, where different layers of existence and stuff like that.
Parallel universes.
Yeah. Anyways,
I don't know if I 100%. Yeah. I don't know. I really lean towards Madman telling the truth.
Yeah. No, it was
based on no evidence, of course.
Again, if you could search up, it may be on YouTube.
Madman Markham.
Art Bell, Madman Markham. Listen to that interview.
Listen to the older one first.
Yeah.
And then listen to the one from like 2013, 14, 15, whenever it was
somewhere
on.
around there. Yeah.
Listen to that one last. Yeah. And you find out what happened.
Right. Yeah. So now,
what you got?
My number 6 is another time movie. The Time Machine.
Love it. It was on mine last week.
1960. Yeah.
Do the talking this time.
Which I was a little curious. You had it in your sci-fi, and here I got it on my fantasy. But
like I explained it, it's just,
again,
it's only because
close.
he uses some type of technology to do it.
Again, we talked about this last week, a good amount. Just the whole time travel aspect, off of the H.G. Wells story, and they did a great job. It was set in that kind of steampunk kind of feel to the movie. The whole time machine itself is just so iconic.
That's
the way
cool.
it looks, totally steampunk.
Yes, it was in Gremlins. Remember that part when the kid's dad goes to the convention in Gremlins?
Yeah,
and he's calling the wife, and you can see the time machine in the back.
Right. Yeah.
And then it goes to another scene when it comes back.
We talked about that in our commentary.
Gremlins. There's just a puff of smoke, and people are looking around. And it's. If you're not paying attention,
you wouldn't notice
I never noticed it as a kid.
We noticed it in our commentary.
It was like,
that we did the Gremlins commentary. But the Time Machine. I
love it.
The Morlocks are just I love those creatures and the what were their names? The people, the Eloi. And I forget the girl who was the main star.
Weena,
yeah. Again, I'm not judging the movie on that because I love the movie, but she was just
cute, man.
Very cute. And but yeah, I mean, that's my number 6 pick. I love the movie. It's fantastic. I can see it over and over and over, and that's what tells you it should be on your top 10 list. If you can watch it over and over, never get sick of it. It deserves to be in your top list, and Time Machine is one of them. So
I love those old movies. See, and like the rest of my list is kind of like the older movies.
Yeah.
So I love.
Okay, well, what's your number 6?
Oh well, 1961, Mysterious Island.
Yeah,
this is also
another good one. Yeah,
based on a Jules Verne story.
John Kyle Stanton says it's totally possible. Talking about time travel again. So
I totally believe it.
Yeah.
And I would love to experience it. I'd love to, be
involved
in it. Who wouldn't? But
again, Mysterious
Island. This features Ray Harryhausen, stop motion special effects, which
I knew you were going to have.
The top of my list is pretty heavy with that stuff because I love it so much. And that's why, because I've gotten a little older, this is just the stuff I like more.
Oh yeah.
But this is a cool story. This takes place during the Civil War, where a mixture of Union soldiers are being held prisoner, and they escape in a hot air balloon.
Yeah.
And through a terrible storm, get blown clear across the country into the Pacific Ocean somewhere, and land on a mysterious island.
Love these concepts.
Giant crabs, giant chickens, giant bees, and they meet Captain Nemo from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Yeah.
And this takes place after 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. He survived fighting the giant squid.
Yeah.
And the Nautilus is kind of derelict. It doesn't really work.
Mm-hmm.
And what he's doing now is trying to create, giant animals to feed the world, to end hunger for the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, the island is not very stable. There's a volcano about to blow. And Nemo kind of sacrifices his life to save the others so that they can escape. It's got pirates. It's got giant bees. It's just
everything
adventure.
we love. Yeah.
Giant everything. And it's just a fun movie.
Somehow everything on that island is large.
Yes. Especially the bees.
But you gotta love the
hide
concept.
in the honeycomb from the bee, and the bee seals them up inside.
Oh, yeah.
It's just really cool.
That's an awesome effect they use on it, too.
I love the whole, escaping in a hot air balloon. It's a neat idea. It's a great idea for a story. Mm-hmm. And if you can find it to watch, please. It's a great film. It's one of the more expensive Blu-rays I ever bought. I had it on DVD, then I got a Blu-ray player, and that was one of the first movies I wanted, and then I come to find it's already out of print.
Right.
And there was only like 3,000 of them made, so it cost me a little bit to get it, but I'm glad I
It's all right. You got your hard copy.
I got my movie. Yes.
Okay, well, my number 5 pick, and it's kind of a newer. It's newer for me.
Okay.
Is Bridge to Terabithia.
Never saw this. You were telling me about
2007. This is a story about Jesse and a girl named Leslie. Mm-hmm. And he's a poor boy. She's a rich girl. And basically, he just... I'm not going to give certain aspects away, but he has something bad happen in his life as a young kid. That just gets him depressed, down, and just and then Leslie comes and moves next to him. He becomes like a very good friend to him. And then the fantasy ensues, like getting away, and she takes him away from all the depression and everything that brings him down. It's a beautiful, beautiful story, and one that made me come to tears. I mean, I love this movie so much because of the fact that it pulls at my heart so hard. The way it ends is so sad. The way I
gotta say this.
It pulls at my heartstrings, and the whole concept of it is Leslie taking him across this ravine by rope and swinging, and she disappears when she gets over there, and he has to believe in order to swing over there too. So she pulls him into this fantasy world, which is called Terabithia, where all kinds of fantastical things are happening with creatures and people, and the characters are great, and she just, pulls him in and again, takes him away from that sadness. And, again, I don't want to spoil this totally, because if you haven't seen it, go watch Bridge to Terabithia. One of the movies that really left an impact on me. So that's my number 5 pick, and that's why. So
I wonder if that's streaming
would recommend.
Anywhere.
I'm not sure, but a movie I love, man.
Oh, let's see.
So you're number 5.
5. Oh, we're halfway. 1963, another Ray Harryhausen, Jason and the Argonauts.
You see, you're getting to be predictable now. Now I'm knowing where you're going. Yeah.
Now you know.
Now
I know all your top 5. Jason and the Argonauts.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything,
yeah,
this is the one that you guys have all seen the images of, the guys fighting swords with the stop-motion skeletons.
Oh, let me say real quick before you go in there real quick. Just catching up on the chat real quick. Bronco Juggalo, what's going on, man? He says, Dino and Ted, what's up? Jenny, I saw it. John Kyle Stanton, if time travel were possible, Ted would go back and attend a Tupperware. And he says Tupperware party.
Tupperware?
Not Tupperware, but anyway, anasophobia, Rob, whatever that means. I'm not sure what you're saying there, Jenny, but I get Queen Cujo. Hi guys, what's up, Queen Cujo? Haven't seen you in the chat before, so welcome aboard. Yes. Welcome aboard the Dino and Ted chat show. And
there goes the mic.
Podcast. Let me make sure the mic's good. So continue with your number 5.
Jason and the Argonauts. I mean, if anything, it's searching for the
Classic.
golden fleece.
Classic.
And you guys all know the imagery of them all fighting the skeletons.
Yeah.
And it's exactly where Sam Raimi got it from for Army of Darkness.
Waggy Films. Hey, nice to see you in the chat.
Thank you.
He says Jason and the Argonauts is amazing. Continue.
It's one of the best movies ever made. And it was one of those, sword and sandal that were really popular at that time.
With Medusa. This was the one with Medusa in it, right?
No, that's Clash of the Titans.
Okay.
But
again, I'm not up on the,
But it had
ones you are.
King Triton, whatever. Was it Triton? I can't remember. I can't always remember the names of all these Greek mythological creatures. Holding the rocks apart when the boat's coming through, and I just love those movies. I watched them every time they were on TV as a kid, and watching them now that I can own them on Blu-ray and watch them with my kids and see that they get a little sense of wonder too, like, oh, that's really cool, that's neat, and I realize they haven't been jaded so much because I don't let them watch all that CGI crap.
No, our kids, they tend to love the old.
They watch a lot of the old stuff,
so they appreciate it.
Each one of them likes something that I liked, and it's just these are those, like you say, comfort movies.
Right.
I mean,
those are your comfort films.
On my phone, I even keep all my favorite movies, and trust me, Jason's on there.
Yeah.
So, Jason the Argonauts, 1963. Yeah. Love me some Ray Harryhausen.
Yep. I hear you.
Yes.
So my number 4. We'll jump to my number 4, which Ted's talked about already.
I have.
The Dark Crystal, 1982.
Oh, you got it up nice and high.
For me, I do get it high because it's just one of those films. It's just so impactful.
It's unique. There's nothing else
unique.
Like it.
Again, a little bit scary as a kid watching those. The two main characters.
Mm-hmm. Jen and Kira.
Yes, Jen and Kira. But again, the wonderment of all the other creatures that appear in puppet form.
I'd want to hang out with the pod people.
The pod people were good.
That's where I want to hang out. They party all day.
What was the name that they jumped on, those big like ostrich type
Landstriders.
Landstriders.
Yes.
Those things were wicked cool. And again, because they were puppets and how they, Jim Henson made the film, they just carried this bizarre, they had this bizarre look to them. And, that's just what I love about this movie.
And they blinked. Like the Gelflings and everything, all the puppets blinked, which gave them a really lifelike quality.
Is there anything like this movie out there? I don't think there is.
There's Labyrinth. There's some creature works similar in legend.
The feel to this,
for a whole world without one single human type character in it. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, and again, that's what I love about it. And again, every scene, every creature they came across,
that was a work of love.
Yes, and then the adventure and the that they went on. To get done what they needed to get done.
Even on the Blu-ray, there's a
fantastic.
Footage. They originally wanted to do it in like a different language and have it subtitled. Like all the different creatures would speak their own language, and it would be subtitled. I mean, that didn't work out, but there's footage of them trying it out, trying the languages out and stuff like that. And I love how, even when you read like the back of the Blu-ray, because it says, it takes place on a world called Thra, but that's never mentioned in the movie. They never mention this, other planet
called Thra.
But I love the Crystal Castle. I mean, when he jumps on the crystal with the shard, and just what a great story!
Oh, what an ending! Yeah, no,
and I was
fantastic.
Obsessed with it. I had, I think we maybe even mentioned it when we were talking about movie novelizations. I had the novelization of it, and it's. You'd have to look it up. I'll show you after the show or something. It was an awesome cover. It had like Skeksis and Mystics and the crystal in between, and I remember taking paper and just like tracing it, like going like this to shade it to get the picture.
And again, another full commentary that me and Ted did on this movie, The Dark Crystal, which you can go back and listen if you want to. Just listen, or on iTunes, listen to us talk about the movie.
Cue it up with the
from
movie.
Beginning to end.
They should pay us.
It's always. It's not your typical commentaries that me and Ted do on our channel. When we started it off here, I mean, You don't get silence. You get us continuously talking and bringing things up.
I hate commentaries like that.
Yeah, but always something interesting to talk about in these films that we've done.
I rarely listen to commentaries on movies. I probably should, especially for some of my more favorite ones.
Depending on who's doing the commentary.
You know what was a fun commentary, since we're doing fantasy films?
What's that?
On the Lord of the Rings DVDs or Blu-rays, there's several commentaries, but if you can watch the one with the cast members, like the Hobbits and stuff, they just joke and goof on it through the whole time.
Kind of like we do?
Yeah, and that's fun. I liked that, and I think I remember the movie Strangeland with Dee Snider. I listened to his commentary on for Strangeland.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, that must have been interesting.
It was Dee Snider.
Yeah,
doing his Dee Snider thing.
Okay, so where are we at? We're on number 4.
Number 4
for Ted. And what is your pick?
Take a guess.
Oh God.
You know the direction we're heading in, so take a guess.
Clash of the Titans.
No.
No. Okay. Well, I'm not sure.
That's higher up the list.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure.
1958, Seventh Voyage of Sinbad.
There we go. Okay.
Got Kerwin Matthews. This was the first fantasy film, the first fantasy film that Ray Harryhausen did special effects for. He did some monster movies before that. He did Mighty Joe Young and Beast from 20,000 Fathoms.
Yeah.
Earth versus the Flying Saucer.
Great movies.
All, the old space monster movies. Yeah. This was the first fantasy film.
Stuff I love.
Right. Yeah. This also has some skeletons in it as well. It's got the Hydra, little winged demons flying down. It's just a great adventure story. The Cyclops. That's the one everybody remembers. The Cyclops, when that one came, when he comes lumbering out. That's one of the best movie monster creatures ever made. And I love Ray Harryhausen. I love all that stop motion. I'm still a big fan. Even like when when that Missing Link new stop motion film came out, I took my kids to go see that. I'm always interested in that because it's just you have to really love what you're doing. It's not that if you're not working on a Pixar movie in a computer, you don't love it. Because I suppose in a way that is just like stop motion. You're just doing it in a computer instead of moving with hands. But there's something about using your hands and doing it and moving it a little. And I just love the fact of knowing that they... What?
John Kyle Stanton says, Ted can't make it through a live stream without mentioning Dee Snider. Someone say Widowmaker.
I saw Widowmaker.
Yeah.
Widowmaker was one of the best concerts I was ever at. The old Flashes here in Cleveland. It's gone.
Yep.
It was during a storm in December. And I swear to you, I might be exaggerating a little bit. It was like 25 people there. It was like a 4-man mosh pit the whole night. And
John Kyle, you may have heard this already in one of our past shows.
I was as close to Dee Snider as I am to that Rancor right there. He only played 3 Twisted Sister songs.
Pretty cool.
But, great concert. Widowmaker. I got both their records and they're fantastic. You can't buy those.
Didn't mean to go on Dee Snider again, but I had to mention it because it was funny, John. So
yes, I know.
No.
But there was a time when I couldn't do a podcast without mentioning Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Now it's Dee Snider.
Okay, so your number 4 is Seven Voyages.
Seven Voyages Sinbad. Just that tactile quality of. I love the fact that they filmed this movie and then like, okay, Ray, here you go.
Yeah.
And he did this stuff in his garage, like his work area.
Yeah.
And he would do it by himself. Mm-hmm. Sometimes he'd have his daughter sitting there just watching him. And you had the guide rods, so you remember where things were. And he did it all himself.
It's a fantastic story.
It's just,
We did a whole show on Ray Harryhausen, too.
I just find it amazing that all those great special effects, he did it all himself.
Yep.
By hand. And it turned out so great. And I adore the hell out of those movies. Some people might say it looks fake, but I think the fakeness of it gives it that fantastical quality.
Let me see who this is.
What we got? What we got?
Oh, somebody's saying. I can't read it though because I need to start bringing my glasses down here to see these chat. Willard Von Stiles II. He says, "Love you guys. Good evening, chat people." So I've never seen you in here, Willard.
I wish I was a second or a third or
welcome
something.
Welcome aboard, man.
That'd be cool to have that in your name.
Yeah. Dino the 8th.
I mean, whatever.
Whatever. The
that's
5th.
Cool. It's like a nice.
What number would you pick?
I don't know, just
the 10th.
Anything over 1 would be great. You know, the second, the third. I mean,
oh man.
You know, I think like if I had been named after my father or something, I would put the second.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. Well, here, you want me to get to my third pick?
Yeah.
My third pick,
number 3,
is going to be Guillermo del Toro's Pan's Labyrinth.
That's not on my list.
2006.
But I knew you'd have it, so.
No, hey, it's hard making these lists sometimes, you know.
You know, but I love my oldies, and I got to put them on.
Subtitled, but doesn't matter.
What a great adult, and I still don't think he's done a movie. I'm not gaga over all his movies, but that movie's great.
It's my favorite of his. I mean, by far. I think Pan's Labyrinth is
nothing else he's done is
fantastic. The creatures,
that should have won Best Picture.
Yeah. I mean, you know, better than Shape of Water.
Oh,
Ted.
Way better than
Ted.
Shape of Water.
Hold on.
Way better, right? Way better than
Way
Shape
better,
of Water.
But I love Shape of Water.
That's okay.
I mean, I love Shape of Water. But no Pan's Labyrinth.
I mean, I just can't. It just didn't seem
I think he will always.
It didn't seem like Best Picture material to me when I watched it.
I don't think there was crap out that year so that was the year for him to take it anyways. But
you know, it's just when I watch it, I'm like, okay, it's all right. It's a Guillermo del Toro movie, but it didn't seem like a Best Picture type movie to me.
I hear you.
Especially when I think about Pan's Labyrinth and how great that was.
Well, again, it goes to show you what movies were out that year that Shape of Water even was able to win.
I don't put much stock in that Academy anyway, but
well, exactly.
You know.
But yeah, I mean, I think he'll always be known, no matter what, no matter how many more movies he puts out. I think he'll always be known for Pan's Labyrinth. Yes. That's going to be the staple
Criterion Collection
of his career. And again, a fantastic film, deserving my number 3 spot.
Remember, I don't know if you ever put it up. We were at one of the FYE stores, and they had some little action figures of the Pale Man, and what a great creature.
I wish I could have got that toy, man, but couldn't afford it.
With the hands, with the eyes in the hand.
Yes.
Freaks me out.
One of the coolest characters in movies that I've seen.
Bar none, one of the best movies. And
that might make a good top 10 list. Our favorite creature of any genre in a movie.
In a movie? Yeah, okay.
We
could do that.
So, yeah.
I would love to do that.
Leave us some, if you guys have any interest in a certain top 10 list that you would like us to do, put it in the chat right now or in the comments below if you made it to
you know
this
what
point,
I love about Pan's Labyrinth as well is that depending on the type of person you are,
go ahead.
It dictates how you view the end. You know, was it a real thing that was happening? Mm-hmm. Does she become the princess at the end? Or did she get shot by that dickhead and now she's dying and her life's blood is draining out?
Right.
I mean, or is it both? Or, you know, I like movies like that where you can take away 2 different endings depending on how you are as a person.
Of course.
And, you know, I like to just think, hey, she went off and she's the princess and she's back in her world and all that. And, you know, I don't like to think about a child dying, and that's a hardcore movie.
No,
and,
I know.
I remember my daughter watched it with me, and she was a bit younger, maybe just in kindergarten, and I let her watch it with me, and she just sat there and watched it, even though it was in Spanish. I didn't read it to her, and I was just like, you can watch it and figure out what's going on without, you know, and I would maybe fill in a gap or 2 here and there, but it's one of those movies you could watch and just figure it out.
Right.
That's a great type of film like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so your number 3.
My number 3
is...
We're going to 1974, The Land That Time Forgot. Yeah. I gotta have some kind of Edgar Rice Burroughs on my list here. So this was the closest. I could have put this in last week's as well, but there's really like no technology. The basic story is... during World War I, some Germans and some Americans get into a submarine fight. They shoot the American ship down. There's some soldiers, some civilians on it. Through some trickery, they overtake the submarine and take over. Yeah. And again, some trickery. The Germans decide they finagle with the compass so that they end up going the wrong direction. And they're lost at sea. Not a lot of water, not a lot of food, not a lot of time. Yeah. And they come across an uncharted glacial continent. and they use the submarine because they can't find a way in, and they go under the water and they find a way into, and then it turns out it's a lost world. It's a tropical, warm area. There's dinosaurs, man in suit kind of dinosaurs, primitive men, like cavemen type, pterodactyl. I mean, everything. And then they all have to work together for the greater good of trying to get out of the. It's got Doug McClure in it. He did this series of Edgar Rice Burroughs films in the 70s with director Kevin Connor. Land That Time Forgot, People That Time Forgot. I talked about At the Earth's Core last week. Yeah. I think someone on here even said they had just seen it. Mm-hmm. And even though it's not an Edgar Rice Burroughs book, it's you would swear it is. It's called Warlords of Atlantis. It needs to be released in the States. I've got a British import of it. But I just love those Lost World, like you were saying, like Journey to the Center of the Earth. I love those Lost World kind of stories. Yeah. And Edgar Rice Burroughs was the master of those stories. He's my favorite author, and it's actually a trilogy. It's The Land That Time Forgot, The People That Time Forgot, and Out of Time's Abyss that tells the whole story of the adventures on that island. And
great
like
picks,
I had said, have you seen that film?
Yeah. Okay, not long ago, because you.
I sent it on over to you. Yeah. And again, I can forgive some poor special effects. They didn't have money. If it had had Ray Harryhausen level stop motion in it, this would be considered a masterpiece, I'm sure. Yeah. But I can forgive those things because the story is so good.
Right.
And so, Land That Time Forgot.
There you go. Yeah.
Great story.
Yeah, Eric says, Waggy Film says, yes, I love The Land That Time Forgot.
Awesome.
Eric Griffin, as long as the thing from the thing is number one.
The thing from the thing.
Because he agreed that the Creatures top 10 list would be kind of a cool idea. Jenny says top 10 shark movies. Jenny, I'm not sure about that.
Top 10 shark
not sure about that one. I'm not a big shark movie guy. I love Jaws. Other than that, I don't know if I could think of anything.
I'm not going to watch a bunch of Sharknado movies to do that.
Bronco Juggalo. Dino, do you mind if I take this idea for one of the Bronco Juggalo top 10 lists? Of course. Yeah, of course. Anybody can do these lists. It's fun to see. I'd love to see what you have to say about it. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. But again, no shark lists for me. I'm sorry.
I didn't know there were that many. Well, I guess there are, but...
Well, yeah.
Well, there's 85 Sharknado ones. There's like that Deep Blue Sea. Wasn't there just a recent one?
There's the Shallows. There's all the Sharknadoes.
Wasn't that the Meg or whatever?
The Meg, yeah, that's another one. I don't think... We've still never seen that movie, so there you go.
Anyways, somehow I'm still alive.
My number 2 is... And I lumped all of these... No. Okay, sorry. My number 2 is Conan the Barbarian, 1982. So Conan made my number 2 on my list.
I have no problem with where you put that movie.
Just because of how much I fell in love with this movie. I mean, again, this was a period of time. You guys don't want to hear personal shit, but that's what you get with us. Irregardless if it's a good movie, there's a reason why I put it at number 2.
You made out with a chick for the first time, didn't you?
No, but
got to second base.
It was during a time when I was into sports and high school, and I'm getting there. And track and field.
He's got records, still haven't been beat.
Yeah, believe it or not, this guy here was this close to the Olympics. Jumped 21 and 11 and a half inches in the long jump here in the school. Pole vaulted, all this. But anyways, getting to the strength part of it, because I was just a madman with working out and all of that stuff. I mean, my drive was just, balls to the wall. And this movie, along with Rocky, this movie, right along with it, helped it out. I mean, I see Conan, especially the scene where he's a little kid and he's pushing that, nonstop.
The wheel of pain.
The wheel of pain around and around.
He's the only one left in the end.
And he's growing, and he's the only one left in the end. And I'm just, that got me to the weights. That got me picking up. I would take my father's 50-pound buckets because I grew up in a greenhouse and, there was tons of like stuff everywhere, like junkyard, junk, this and that. I would use anything I could to work out, and they're 50-gallon
like Rocky
drums.
and Rocky 4, man.
Yeah, I'm
Russia.
I'm like curling these, these like big giant.
They probably aren't even the
paint
same
buckets.
weight. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but it got me so pumped up and pushed me and got me as far as I did in a lot of the sports that I did in school. So the impact on me just with Arnold and that frickin', big ass. Muscles. Yeah, it just got me, man. The Drive was.
I know. Yeah.
On top of being just a fantastic film. So So there you go. There's my personal.
That was like a perfect physique. I mean, we sound like we're getting all gay on it, or
No,
and not that there's anything wrong with
not that there's anything wrong with it. No.
But I mean,
of course not.
It's just amazing.
No,
Then when you find out, like I said, that
when I found out that you can work out and get that kind of shit on your body, when Arnold would go make a bicep, which I still got a little bit of one. You get older, it kind of diminishes a bit, but you get this little peak on Arnold's bicep when he's. I'm like going, fuck yeah, I'm getting this shit, man. It's just,
all I need to do
I can say I
grow
had
my hair long and get me a sword.
I could say I had the biggest biceps in from 9th grade on in school.
All right.
I would wear the shirts where they would, show.
You made sure.
I
right?
made sure they. Oh, what you been doing? You been doing curls over the summer? But anyways, okay. I just. Here we go. That's my little personal spiel on why I love that movie.
Hey, I wouldn't mess with you.
So on to number 2 for you, Ted.
Number 2. Now we have Clash of the Titans, 1981.
Okay.
The only Clash of the Titans.
It's up there.
What a great movie. Is this on your list?
There's one more. What do you think's on my list?
Dude,
one that I haven't mentioned.
You don't have Clash of the Titans on your list? If I had hair, I'd pull it out.
Again, this is
so
your
hard.
zone, and not that I don't love it. It may be like 12, 13 on my list. I mean, you want me to real quick catch up? Just like catch up real
Deep
quick.
Blue Sea. Yeah,
Scolder 20 says Deep Blue Sea, the Meg.
21 and a half inches. 20, what was it, 21 feet, 11 and a half inches?
21 feet, 11 and
inches.
11 inches. Yeah, sorry. I messed up there, Felix. You know me. I mumble and rumble, but especially when I get excited. But no, 21... 21, 11 and a half inches.
Yeah,
and it was
records.
this close, but yeah.
No one's beat yet.
I hear that, Dino. Then we go to college and do a lot of things.
Your mother
on
goes
our
to
bodies,
college.
And now we are old and fat. I still, I'm relatively in still pretty good shape, man. But yeah, age eventually gets you and creeps up. And so no matter how much you work out, the pains are there. So you got that much there, Bronco.
See, I'm not even going to do that because, I asked my doctor.
There you go.
If I, eat better and work out, exercise, he said, I said, well, what's going to happen? He said, well, you'll get very old, get sick, and then die.
Pretty much. Okay.
So eat healthy, exercise, die anyway.
Okay, and what goes on here? I can't believe neither of you have Zardoz on the list.
Man, I don't need Sean Connery and that little dinky tight thing. That's a weird movie.
Jenny says top 10 Frankenstein movies. Okay, let's get to your... Okay, continue with Clash of the Titans.
You're right. Well, I was going to say, I tried...
Medusa alone, yeah.
I tried lifting weights, but they're so damn heavy.
Ted lifts he'll lift a big old sub. Okay, go ahead.
Clash of the Titans.
Okay.
Again, I think Ray Harryhausen's masterpiece because it's a culmination of everything that he's ever wanted to do. Mm-hmm. You guys all know the story. Perseus going to get the head of Medusa to stop the Kraken before his
Kraken in
is
this
going
movie,
to be
man.
sacrificed.
Yeah.
I mean, all the great creatures. I mean, you don't go 5 minutes in this movie without seeing some kind of cool monster.
Yeah.
You got Pegasus, the Kraken, Calibos, the giant vulture.
Right.
The three witches, the Stygian witches.
Love them.
That have no skin over here instead of their eyes. The ferryman, the giant scorpions.
You're convincing me it might have needed to be higher. But go ahead.
the Bubo, the owl.
Yeah.
I mean,
many,
Medusa.
So many great characters.
Just all the snakes moving and it's just the whole big adventure of it all.
Magical.
Fantastical.
Fantastical.
And the Greek gods and all that. Just
Well,
There's
what about the
nothing
Greek
bad.
goddesses?
Yeah, the Greek goddesses too. Well, there are gods, goddesses, whatever.
It was all about the gods.
I
in
don't
this
discriminate.
one.
But I can watch that movie endlessly. It's just so great.
Top 10 movie bad guys. Another good one, Felix. Yeah.
Oh, yes. That's a good one.
Charles Bronson would definitely be close to the top of the list for Ted.
Oh,
Maybe not.
Bronson, sometimes he's the anti-hero sometimes, so he's not always the bad guy.
That's true. That's true. Okay, well, hey, let's jump to our number ones. We've made it through our list, long and winded. Thank you guys for sticking around so long here. It's an hour and a half. Usually we go about an hour and a half, 2 hours on these long stuff, these long shows. But anyways, my number one, and again, I'm clumping this all together, guys.
You're allowed.
I'm allowed just because
It's your show.
It's part of. I couldn't put them all on the list. The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings.
Wow. My last, your first.
I'll say The Hobbit. Yeah, you're 10, my number one.
It's all right.
But my reasoning behind this is because of, again, this goes back to impact on my life and nostalgia and how much it means to me. These were the first books that I pretty much read as a kid. And I mean, there's no explaining to you what it did to me and the impact that it had reading it. I mean, putting me into a different world. Again, you'd have to know my personal story, what I went through as a child, to wonder how a child can diving into something that's fantasy to get you out of the real world, right? And this story did that for me, and God bless J.R.R. Tolkien for creating such a tale.
Yes.
That I'm sure plenty of other people feel the same way
I
as I do.
remember reading it and just knowing I have to go to bed and I just want to keep reading.
Yes. No, I could not stop. Could not put it because
Gotta go to bed.
I was there. I was in every scene. I was in the entire journey until that ring got thrown into the volcano and the fire. And I just and again, the movies, again, some people may not like how they adapted it. Some people love the way they adapted it. Me, again, I do love the way Peter Jackson took on the movies. Do they, because I love the novels so much, is that how I saw all the characters? No. But he did it so well that it didn't matter.
Yeah, the characters weren't the same for me, but certainly like the scenery.
I hated that Tom Bombadil wasn't in there.
Oh, Tom Bombadil.
Because he was a big part of the story, but I guess I understand why they didn't put him in there.
And he did change some of the female characters up a little, adding the love story and stuff. But I think that's a failing of Tolkien as a writer, is I don't think he could write female characters very well.
Yeah, I guess.
In some ways, I think they kind of improved upon that a little bit. I think they took what Tolkien was really trying to do and they fleshed it out a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like with Arwen and Eowyn. So I didn't really have a problem with that. But, for the most part, they got just about everything in there.
Yeah.
And Tom Bombadil is just a weird thing.
But he would have been so great.
He's this cool character that they sort of room up with for a little while.
Yeah.
And, but he's just so... What is he? He's just like this woodland spirit character.
Spirit, shape-shifting.
And completely untouched by anything evil. And his wife Goldberry, and
I love that.
I
love the
because then it leads into the story, the Willow Man and the Barrow Downs when they're on their way, and it's I don't the Barrow Whites and there's cool stuff there. Just I guess for brevity's sake, if you can call brevity in a Lord of the Rings movie, they left that out.
Right.
But I still say Fellowship's the best one out of all of them. I love them all, but I love Fellowship the most.
I'd agree. Out of all the movies there, but again, lumping them all together, I couldn't do anything other than do that. So, real quick, let's see. The longer the better, says Eric Griffin. Good. Top 10 horror list of top 10 horror list. Willard Von Stiles a second. Yeah, good one there. Top 10 Brie Larson movies, says Felix. You're not up. Yeah,
I'm not.
Good one. Good. I don't even think there are 10 movies there, Felix.
Oh, she's probably.
That's a good idea, Eric Griffin. Raiders, you're awesome. Top 10 movie quotes, says Felix.
That would be a good one.
Yeah, we could do
plenty
of things. Good ideas, everybody. But let's jump to your number one.
My number one.
Yeah.
Anybody who's been watching this goddamn show long enough knows what my number one is.
Yeah.
King Kong, 1933. Not just the best fantasy movie, but the best movie ever made.
Is it a fantasy movie?
Well, Jesus Christ, people don't say they bitch at me when I say it's a monster horror movie, and then they go and bitch at me when I say it's a fantasy
Son of a bitch.
Well, if you go to some island where there's dinosaurs and giant apes, it's pretty fantastical. Hey, if you're going to accept Land That Time Forgot as fantasy, I guess you got to accept King Kong as fantasy.
I'll hang with you. I'll go with you.
You're going to argue with me about
It's your
this?
list. But no, go ahead.
For Christ's sake, what do I put it under?
It's a creature movie.
Well, there you go. All my movies have been creature movies.
Horror creature, but more of a creature feature film.
Listen, damn it.
Fantasy.
King Kong. Okay. It's a fantastical. Okay. They go to a fantastical place where you're not buying this?
I'm always on board with you, but this one,
now you're taking all the wind out of my sails.
No, for God's sake, no.
What to do now?
No,
this is.
No, go ahead. Go with it.
If Land That Time
Forgot, you guys think it's a fantasy film? You going with Ted? Well, let us know in the chat.
If you're going with everything else that I've done, I think it fits.
Like the Land That Time Forgot it's
dinosaurs.
more fantasy. But they go
to
a
lost world, and there's dinosaurs. This is like a lost
almost
island.
Almost like a Twilight Zone.
Oh, hell with it all.
Where King Kong, they went to an island, picked up a creature, brought him back. It's there's no supernatural fantasy type. No, go ahead, Ted. I'm sorry. Oh my God. Oh Lord. I didn't mean to do this. But
there's dinosaurs.
There is.
And like giant snakes, and there were giant spiders, but they got cut out.
If they didn't bring King Kong back to United States,
they had to prove that they that's what's so ballsy about it. They bring him back,
but that's what makes it there not being no fantasy involved because it was real creatures on this island.
Well, but it doesn't really exist. Skull Island.
The Land of Time Forgot. They intermingled dimensions there and
no, that was just a lost world. A pocket of warm water inside an iceberg.
Okay,
they lived.
So, anyways,
but. I've gushed about this.
I see why it's number one.
I've gushed about this
We can't do a
movie.
creature feature top 10 now.
I can't do a top movie list without King Kong being number one. But, I mean, I've talked about it ad nauseum on this show. I'm not going to get into all the whys and wherefores of why I love it. I mean, you either get it or you don't.
Right.
It's the greatest movie of all time. It's got everything.
Not
only does it have action, it's got the weirdest love triangle you'd ever see in a movie.
John Galstan says Ted's number one is better than Dino's.
See, there we go.
But John, is it fantasy? But I'll go with it. It's fine.
Thank you.
Land of the Lost with Will Ferrell is the best.
I love the first season.
Oh,
I love Land of the Lost, the TV show, but the first season is really good. The movie, okay, I'm going to admit, I went to the theater to go see it just because I'm a huge Land of the Lost fan.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it.
Oh.
I mean, they kind of just like made fun of a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Slee Stacks looked pretty cool in it. Chaka was some weird horny thing.
Bronco Juggalo Talks Movies says not swords and sorcery fantasy, but it's a fantasy and also a sci-fi, same thing as The Land That Time Forgot.
Everybody's
I'm giving you shit. It's good.
You knew it was going to be number one. You knew it. You knew it. You were waiting. You were laying in wait for me.
I'm laying in wait. But no.
By all means, it's my favorite movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got everything. Everybody in my family knows it's my favorite movie, and I have to do it.
Eric Griffin says King Kong is awesome. If it gets to be fantasy, then RoboCop gets to also be fantasy too. And then RoboCop. Why do I keep saying RoboCop?
Because you got cock on the mind.
RoboCop is number one. John Cal Stanton says Dino Philly's signature movie is Rocky, and Cleveland's is Howard the Duck.
That's right, because that's where Howard the Duck crashed.
Right.
Even in the comics, man. Even in the comics, that was the deal.
I agree, John Kyle.
Now, why doesn't Marvel do that movie?
Howard,
Yeah, I know they teased them in the
I
movie,
know.
but let's really have Howard the Duck movie.
I thought it was in the works, but
I haven't heard anything, and I usually know what's going on.
okay,
I just don't see half of them.
Well, who the hell knows then?
I don't know.
But you know what? There you go, you guys. That's our top 10 list of fantasy films and one creature feature film.
You son of a...
Oh! I'm giving that shit. God damn! I'm gonna put.
I quit this show.
I knew I should have put Annie Hall at number 1. Just joking, guys.
I didn't laugh my ass off.
Okay, so yeah, so there you go. That's our top 10.
We need a Woody Allen fantasy movie.
Oh. So I think next week.
Oh my God! Look at the size of that gorilla.
I think next week we're going to do probably another top 10 list. We'll figure out which one we'll do because this is kind of fun. We'll keep rolling with it. Have some fun with these.
Yeah.
Roll with it, baby. So yeah, and I wanted to thank everybody in the chat.
Yeah.
For joining in.
That was pretty fun.
It's always fun. See, this is why I started.
It's like we have all these imaginary friends.
This is what. Yeah.
See.
Hey, most of these guys are always around on a lot of the streams I do, so it's pretty cool. These like John, Kyle, all you guys in there, Eric, Felix.
These are
Jenny,
all your friends now.
Daniel, Bronco, yeah, they're all here. Tiger Man, on and on and on and on. But you guys made it very pleasurable for us to do these live streams now. Second week in a row. We're going to continue to do this every Tuesday at 9 p.m. or so, right around there, 9 or 9:15 when Ted gets here.
Yes.
And so look forward to another top 10 list next week. Not sure what it's going to be, but stay tuned. As always, the Late Late Horror Show on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, Horror Amino if you're part of that group still, and my Patreon. If you want to join our Patreon, the link is below in the bottom. Eventually, I want to start getting a little extra content up there, but I do need to grow a few more people in there for support. And again, it's just a different avenue to get exclusive content to people, so that would be fun. But yeah, there you go. I guess we're going to end it now, right?
We're going to end it.
Yeah, just cut it off right there. Yeah.
Cut it off at the neck.
So with that said, I'm going to look over at my monitor and get ready to stop the stream. So there you go. And until next time, you guys,